Before I get started, I do consulting on where you can move. I'll work with you to find the perfect place for you to move to. There's more information at the end of the video about that. Now let's get started. Back in the day, everybody lived in rural areas. Then, bam, everybody moved to a big city. It was okay at first, but then it got too crowded and dangerous and there was way too much drama. So now everybody's scrambling to figure out where they can go. The only place that's left where it's safe and cheap anymore are small towns. So it might be time to bring it back to the heartland, everybody. This is Tiny Town 2.0. Tiny Town 2.0. It's a fairly new concept. Well, it's brand new. The concept is this. Home prices are skyrocketing and there's crime and bums all over the place. Many people can work from home now and they want more space and less drama. So why not small towns? I've spent a lot of time telling you which large cities you should and shouldn't move to, but I've overlooked rural America. So this is my first attempt at showcasing a small town. I didn't know what to expect. Heck, I didn't even know where I'd go. But I had sort of an idea. I wanted to visit a place with under 10,000 people that's cheap and at least an hour away from a major metro area. So I crunched the numbers on a list of small towns within a short 3-hour drive of where I lived. But there were so many. How would I know which one to pick from? It was kind of like throwing a digital dart at a map. How would I choose? I finally settled on a place in rural Virginia. Here, a place called Emporia. So I went there. And it's time to find out what I found. Small towns, because who wants drama? Small towns where you won't get stuff robbed. Small towns aren't as big as a big place. Everyone here knows your name. Maybe that's good or that's bad. Who knows? The first tiny town that I randomly visited is up here. Little Emporia, Virginia, population 5,442. I didn't know anything about this place, and as I found out, I think I picked the wrong place to start this experiment of mine. But I learned a lot along the way, and I think you will too. But no matter which small town you pick, there's going to be some good things in all of them. I mean, you're not going to see homeless people, tents, needles on the ground, poop on the sidewalks, woke people all over town, or graffiti all over the place. You also won't hear a lot of gunshots, for the most part. Emporia, Virginia is not going to wow you. It's certainly not fancy. It's right along I-95, so it's the kind of place where a lot of people stop when they're passing through. You'll see license plates from all over the East Coast here. I also hear they make a lot of money pulling people over for speeding, and that's evident by the numerous traffic cams in and around downtown. As you might expect, there's not a lot here. I think they have 3 schools in town. There's a grocery store that sells mostly meat, a few mom and pops, some restaurants, a few parks. They have a Walmart here, and a bunch of dollar stores. I counted 4 of them within a few blocks of downtown. If you don't live in a rural area, I'll just say, in small towns like this, dollar stores have become the lifeblood of these communities. And that's sad, because like Walmart, the dollar stores tend to run the mom and pops out of business. They're kind of under-the-radar small business snipers. The dollar stores are very popular in rural America. They're kind of a combination of Walmart, a travel center, and a yard sale. Look at all that cheap Chinese crap, people. Emporia has some awful friendly folks. We're going to meet some of them soon. A lot of them work in this city's fine restaurants. This is Logan's Diner. It's a very popular eatery right in the heart of downtown. It's a simple place, Logan's is. The kind of place where you come to hear small town gossip and gobble up cheap homemade food. Look at those prices, everyone. I chose the burger. And the homemade pie. This is Lois's homemade peanut butter pie. $3.50 a slice. That's Lois there. See? That's what's cool about small towns like Emporia. You get to meet the chefs personally. I had Mexican food for dinner. Every small town has to have a decent Mexican restaurant. I also visited Faux Show, a restaurant owned by none other than Ernie and Elliot Sadler. They're NASCAR drivers who grew up here in Emporia. See everyone? In big cities, you don't have greasy spoons owned by hometown hero NASCAR drivers, do ya? But it's not just the cheap food that defines small towns like Emporia. It's cheap living. I'm going to show you both the bad side of town and the good side of town so you kind of have a feel for what it's like to live in a place like this. Right now, we're in the bad side of town. On the low end, you could get a home in a neighborhood like this for about $20,000 to $25,000. Now, most of us aren't used to reverse sticker shock like that. Heck, many of us spent more than that on our cars. Some neighborhoods in Emporia are 10 times cheaper than where you live. But it's cheap for a reason. It always is. Emporia doesn't have a lot going on to draw in younger families, and there are practically zero white-collar jobs in town. For some kind of work, you'd have to commute about 20 minutes to Roanoke Rapids, North Carolina, or more likely 40 minutes into Petersburg, Virginia, and that's a city that's not very nice. Richmond is an hour away. That's a big city.
There have been studies that show that commuting longer distances is actually good for your health. Long commutes create structure and purpose in our lives.
I don't know what kind of Googling you've been doing, Mappy, but I've never heard that one before. But could you live in a place like this, Mappy? Little small town?
Never.
I didn't ask you. Anyways, another reason it's so cheap here. People just can't afford a regular cost of living. A quarter residents here live in poverty, and that's one of the highest rates of poverty in the state. That means you, Mr. Big Earner, you would live like a king if you made this your home. It's pretty dangerous in Emporia too. Last year there were 2 murders here, which means, statistically, you'd have a 1 in 2,721 chance of being killed yourself. But it's likely going to be robberies and assaults that would ruin your day. I mean, of all cities in Virginia, Emporia ranks 11th highest for crime. I'm beginning to think I picked the wrong place to try to make a point about living in small towns. Now, conversely, let's look at the nice side of town. There we go, pal. That's the way small town America should look like. These homes are much more modern and nice and new. Here, you might expect to pay $165,000 for a home. I know, I hear you clucking. That's hardly anything for a decent home these days. Can you picture yourself mowing your yard while your 2 kids play with the family dog and your wife sits on the porch with a nice big glass of sweet tea? Ah. If you're a person with a go-getter, roll-up-your-sleeves attitude, downtown Emporia has a lot of potential. Like, a lot of potential. I'd imagine you could lease one of these shuttered buildings for pennies on the dollar and open up a business of your dreams. This used to be a really neat place. Back in the mid-1900s, a lot of people lived here, and it was thriving. But the first blow came when the railroad stopped coming through town. Then manufacturing left the area, and so did farming. By the late 1970s, Emporia was in a steep decline. But that means more opportunity, people. You know what they say, buy low, sell high. Now, of course, you're thinking, what would I do for fun? Well, meeting people won't be hard. I met like everybody in town in one afternoon. But in terms of entertainment, well, you're going to have to redefine what fun means to you. You'll have to get involved, join groups, join clubs, attend church. You know, the old ways we used to connect. You can't meet people sitting in a movie theater, and you can't meet people sitting on the couch watching Netflix, can you? This is Bobby Wren. He grew up in Emporia, and everybody knows his name. Bobby says there's a lot to do in a small town if you're willing to change your mindset. I feel like if a family left a city, if they moved here, they'd get bored. Do you think it's easy? I don't know,
there's so many things to do. You know, there are more events and you belong to things, you go to different things. There's something to do all the time. I don't know how you would do it in a city where you don't know anybody. You'd only go to public paid events, I think. We have Rotary Club, we have Women's Club, we have Ruatan clubs. There are all sorts of JCs are here, there are all sorts of things like that. Mm-hmm. And we have a volunteer rescue squad and a volunteer fire department here. Something else you don't have in the cities.
Yeah. So you would just become part of the community if you moved here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I think that's what
and you would enjoy it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Could you see yourself living here yet?
We have a lot of food events. For instance, the Ruatan Club that I belong to has about 7 fish fries a year. It's a big event. And the animal cruelty people are having a Boston Butt event. We have a lot of public meals and a lot of public events that you wouldn't have in cities that would be as effective as here. It makes for a really pleasant place to live and to be. Then we have a program, have a guy in costume that's awesome as a speaker. Then we serve hot dogs, lemonade, and beans, and watermelon.
Hot dog socials in the summer? Say what? This is the mayor of Emporia, Dr. Carolyn Carey. I asked her what's good and bad about living in a small town.
You look out for each other. You get to know people, and if they hurt, you hurt. And there's a slower pace in a small town. You don't walk as fast. You go to New York City, everybody's walking fast. Go to Times Square, if you don't move fast, you're gonna get trampled over. But here, you can take your time. You walk. We have nice areas to walk, exercise, and traffic and pollution. We don't have as much pollution here because we don't have as much traffic. But for the most part, you don't hear the sirens blowing, and so your sleep is better. You know, people now are dealing with depression, anxiety, and lack of sleep.
Okay, a little bit more enthusiasm would have helped to make my case for this place, but the mayor was quick to point out many of Emporia's shortcomings, too.
We don't have businesses like we should. One grocery store, then a full grocery store. If you want chitlins, pig feet, sausages, and stuff like that from the swine, you go there. There's just a close-knit community when you're living in a small town. And less crime, although I can't say we don't have any crime, because we have children now that are socially, economically deprived, and they're not from the best neighborhoods, but it's not their fault. But our schools are kind of on the low end right now, but we are pushing forward. We have people that are really interested in their education, and there are some parents that are very young, and we sometimes don't get the best benefit from them. Employment is low, very low here, and we have people that don't want to be on social welfare or social services, need social services, but they do, because in order to make one decent salary, maybe about, I would say $20,000, $30,000 income, they have to work 2 or 3 jobs. And the jobs available are like McDonald's, Hardee's, and we don't have many areas for the youth, the little ones, like the 2 to 4-year-olds to go preschool. We don't have daycares. If they're looking for a fast pace, like a movie theater, we don't have one. Yeah. We don't have a bowling alley. And we have to go 42 miles for the nearest theater. We don't have activities for children. We don't have not even a basketball court that they can go in and close in, rec center, I'd say. We don't have a nice swimming pool. We need an indoor swimming pool.
Let's balance that out with another optimistic Bobby quote.
Well, I think the main thing is the friendliness. And you know so many people, you can wave and speak to so many people. In the city, they would look at you like, well, what's wrong with that guy?
Emporia leaders admit their challenges. It's hard to get the ball rolling, but they have plans to start somewhere. Their goal is to attract new families and businesses to the area, and they hope one day to be a model small town, a place that's thriving once again. Who knows? Maybe they'll figure it out.
We have the Meharry River, we have the walking trail out here where you can actually exercise sites. Chet, our community health action team, got a grant to put those out there. So we're upgrading our infrastructure, our water and sewer. But we have a plan to, in economic development, to bring those things back. We're recruiting breweries, restaurants, small business owners. We really begin to push for small business owners because there's no jewelry store, there's no watch repair shop. There used to be a shoe shop here right down the street from Spivey. So we are pushing for that, and we ask all citizens to be cheerleaders for the city. So if you go to a nice restaurant and you think they can come here, you tell them, come to Emporia. So we're working very, very hard, and that's the strategy. And the strategic goals of Marion Council is to bring those things here. Now, Saks Fifth Avenue, Nordstrom, Those places are not going to come here, but we can get them Marshalls. We have Bricks Outlet that's here now. So, you know, a Target would be nice, a TJ Maxx would be nice. A few of the restaurants would be nice. And if when we're finished, we'll have some of those things here. And it's going to happen. Roses is coming, Game and Emporium is coming. $20 million investment, 150 jobs. Average compensation about $47,000. So that's going to change the whole Southside Virginia.
We have a vision. Emporia is going to get better.
It's a work in progress. So I would say if you're thinking about it, come visit and stay tuned.
And maybe small towns aren't for everyone, or at least this small town. But could you live in a small town like this? You know, get involved and raise your kids here and get to know everyone's gossip. Kind of start from the ground up and see how high the bar is? Are you an eager beaver or an unbeliever? It's almost everything you guys want. It's a place that's warm and cheap where you can get involved and make new friends. They have internet, they have buildings, parks, friendly people, and lots of cheap land. It might be a stretch, Emporia, Virginia might be, but it gets the conversation started. Are the wheels turning yet? There's thousands of places like this scattered across America. Some are more ready for your family than others. And there's been a lot of press about how small towns are the next big thing in America. The only problem is, how do you pick one? I honestly don't know, but I'm going to try to figure it out. Stay tuned for the next episode of Tiny Towns 2.0. Small towns, because who wants drama? Small towns where you won't get stuff robbed. Small towns aren't as big as a big place. Everyone here knows your name. Maybe that's good or that's bad. Who knows? Where you can park your car, wherever. Where you can watch the man kill your cow. Where you can be a mayor and in charge. Where you might one day make some new friends. Small towns, because who wants drama? Small towns where you won't get stuff robbed. Small towns aren't as big as a big place. Small towns are a great place to live. Are you looking to move and need advice? I do consulting. That's right. I'll sit down and talk about where the next perfect place for you and your family should be. I do it all the time. Together, let's find you a new home that's safe and checks all your boxes. You can get my email in the description to find out how I can help you find your perfect relocation. And I can also help you find your new house too. Email me and I'll work with you on not just helping you figure out where to move, but I can help you find your perfect home too. That's right. I know awesome, reliable agents all over the country, and I'd love to connect you to somebody who can help you search for that perfect home. Hey guys, if you learned something new about America or what it's like to live in America, great. You should think about subscribing and turning on your notifications. You can also click one of these videos or playlists for more. You can also now buy my songs on iTunes and other formats. Click the link in the description. Thanks for watching. And remember, while we all might have different views, we should all be nice to each other and try to make the U.S. a better place in a positive way.
This is Sage, Nick's manager. This has been a Corner House Entertainment production.